Shri Shambho Ramanatha. Welcome to another session of Shiva Purana. We saw in our last session that Shiva had descended on Kailasa as Rudra. He was greeted by Shiva Ganas, we shall see who they are, and Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. Now we see in this session that Narada, remember we spoke about the Manasaputra of Brahma, Narada, he visits the palace of Daksha Prajapati. Now an undisclosed amount of time has passed after the descendants of Rudra, and Daksha has become a Prajapati, in the sense Daksha has become the king of all humans, and the sage Narada is visiting the palace of Daksha Prajapati. He announces to Virini, one of the many wives of Daksha Prajapati. She is also called as Prasuti or Pasuti by many people. She is greeted by Narada, and it is found that he is introducing himself to her, saying that I am the elder brother of your husband and your brother-in-law. So we have to assume that at the very beginning of this world, people did not know who Narada was, and we shall be seeing him, encountering him quite often in our stories in the Shiva Purana. When she tries to bow down and prostrate before sage Narada, Deva Rishi Narada, the highest Rishi, according to the Sanatana Dharma, is a Deva Rishi, and Narada is already a Deva Rishi. When she tries to prostrate and bow down to his feet, he pushes back and says, no, no, Virini, you are going to be the mother of Shakti herself, Adi Shakti, who is the Janani, the creatrix of this entire universe. So as the grandmother of this entire universe, please do not bow down and touch my feet. It is interesting to know that Sati is the 16th daughter of the total 24 daughters born to Daksha and Virini. This number 24 again is the same as the number of elements, plus, of course, Purusha in the Sankhya philosophy. The total number of daughters born to Daksha from his other wives total to 64. The number 64 is also very important when we look at 64 yoginis or 64 dakinis. We will be covering this in other sessions, but I thought it is important for you to note that Shakti is the 16th daughter of the total 24 daughters born to Daksha and Virini. Shodashi, as the highest form of Shakta worship, as the highest form of Tantra worship, is developed later in this great land of Bharata. So just to give you a background as to where we get the numbers 24, 16 and 64, these are the number of daughters born to the first king of this Yuga or this Manvantara, namely to Daksha and Virini in this case, in this particular case, and generally to Daksha and his other wives. Now, as soon as Narada tells Daksha Prajapati and Virini about the coming of Ma Shakti, Mother Shakti in their womb, a deep penance, a deep tapasya is undertaken by Daksha himself. He also comes out of this deep penance and starts a yajna, a fire sacrifice to none other than Adi Shakti herself. We do not get the details of what this yajna might have included, or what mantras were used, or what the sacrifices, the samhits, the ahutis, or even the procedure that was used. So one can only guess what are the kind of ingredients that go into the yajna to invoke Adi Shakti herself to be born in the womb of a couple. None illustrious than Daksha and Virini. Of course, it is mentioned that when this entire yajna was happening, Virini dreams of Adi Shakti riding a tiger and blessing an orb of light that enters her womb, and that is how she knows that she is carrying the mother of this entire universe, Adi Shakti, in her womb. In a way, the essence of this entire universe enters the womb of Virini, and takes form of a human child. In due course, after 9 months and 10 days, she delivers the divine child, a divine girl, and there is celebration galore, not just on earth, but in the entire universe. The heavens are happy, all the worlds, the 14 lokas are happy. At the same time, Narada, sage Narada, the Deva Rishi, visits Kailasha again. There is reference of the Ganas not recognizing him and not understanding his mantras on Vishnu Narayana. We have seen in popular television and films that sage Narada goes around chanting Narayana, Narayana. Obviously, the Shiva Ganas do not recognize Narada or the mantras that he is chanting, including that of Sriman Narayan. They look, the word that is used is they look vichitra to each other. They look unrecognizable to each other. When inquired as to who you are, Narada tells them that he too is a Vairagi, a yogi. But the Shivagana, the ghosts and goblins and the grotesque looking Gana followers or worshippers of Shiva who live on cremation grounds and the tamasic places in this universe, fail to understand the Swarupa or the structure and the form of Narada. There is a small scuffle. Again, this shows that in the beginning of this universe, people did not recognize Deva Rishi or the Rishi systems, even though the Rishis were the first to be created. As the population of this earth was filled with more and more people, the need for Rishis, starting from a Kanda Rishi, a Raja Rishi, a Maharishi, a Brahma Rishi, a Deva Rishi, and so forth, categorization started as the Vedic knowledge and literature started flourishing on this earth. So in this ruckus between the Shivaganas and Narada, Shiva, who is in deep samadhi, who is in deep meditation, always with the intention of Loka Kalyana, of benefiting all the lokas, the 14 worlds, is awakened. The Shivaganas are chasing Narada. Of course, Sadashiva as Rudra intervenes with the Ganas and he stops them from attacking poor Narada and tells them that Narada is the one entity who has the freedom to move around in all the lokas unhindered. Obviously, this is construed later in various Puranas and Itihasa that Narada is the numero uno messenger or a media personality of gods and deities and goddesses and Swarga and Naraka and humans and world and Yamaloka, etc. So it is Narada who is like your favorite television anchor, bringing you all the latest news that is happening across all the lokas of the Sanatana pantheon. So he is introduced here, and the Ganas excused, upon which Shiva and Narada have a small conversation, and Shiva inquires as to what is the reason for the visit of Narada, because Narada will never visit someone without a reason. He says, "Oh Lord Shiva, what is hidden from you? Don't you realize that the Leela, the game of Adi Shakti herself has started?" Shiva, having just woken up from his deep samadhi, says, "Really? There is still a minute and a half for the Leela to start." It is when there is an elaborate explanation of the relativity of time, where it is told to us that 1 year of the human is 1 day of the Pitru or the departed. 1 day, 1 year of the Pitru is 1 day of the Daivas. 1 day of the Daivas is 1 day of the 33 Devana Devatas, as we call them, and 1,000 such days form 1 day of Chaturmukha Brahma. In 1 day of Chaturmukha Brahma, there are 14 Manvantaras during the daytime and 14 Manvantaras happening in the night. Now, what are Manvantaras? Some people say it is 1,000 Chatur Yugas of Satya, Treta, Dwapara and Kali Yuga, 1,000 cycles of them. Some say it is one cycle. Whatever it is a huge amount of time. And 1 minute of Rudra is 100 years of Brahma. So when Rudra Shiva is saying 1.5 minutes, imagine the great amount of time that has passed. So Narada is saying, in your meditation, in your samadhi and penance, you probably did not realize, but Adi Shakti is now born to Daksha Prajapati. So this is how it comes to the knowledge of Shiva. I'm reminded of a joke here. You know, the relativity of time of God versus man. So there is a man who is meditating and he is granted a vision by Lord Shiva himself. So this sadhaka says, "Shiva, Shiva, Shiva, it is said that for you 1 crore rupees, 10 million rupees is like 1 paisa. Is it true?" He said, "Yes." It is also said that 1 minute for you is like 1,000,000 crore, 10 crore human years. Is it true? He says, "Yes, it is a very long time." Because time and money doesn't matter to you, oh Lord Shiva, can you grant me 1 paisa of yours, which is 1 crore of rupees or 10 crore of rupees for me? Shiva says, "Sure, in a minute." So the relativity or the flexibility of time is explained right here and now. What we must understand is the fact that as you grow in your consciousness, the amount of time also starts increasing. As you grow in your ananda, as you grow in your vijnana, as you grow higher and higher or go deeper and deeper towards the center of your being, even a minute within feels like a yuga. Even the experience of a small fraction of that Ananda bliss inside of you feels like you have lived millions and billions of lives. Trust me, I have encountered both these experiences many times. There are multiple times where time has become so relative that a few seconds of deep samadhi feels like many yugas have passed. A few minutes of deep samadhi feels like you have enjoyed a million, billion, trillion lives of love with your most beloved other half, better half. So with experience, I'm telling you that this relativity of time and experience is what occurs in this dialogue between Narada and Shiva. I would like to stop here today because the next part is kind of on a different note, in a different flavor. I am open for taking more questions if you have, just after we finish this small prayer to Guru. Let us chant, repeat after me. Shri Shambho Ramanatha Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murtihi Puja Moolam Gurur Padam Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam Moksha Moolam Gurur Kripa.